This is a Blairing Out with Eric Blair show today in Orange County at Pepperland Records with singer, songwriter, burlesque performer, and model Molly Moonstone. You have to be able to do everything today in order to kind of survive in the entertainment industry, don't you think?
Yeah, if you want to be like full-time, entertainer or artist, you kind of like have to do everything.
How long have you been in LA on this trip for?
2.5 weeks.
The highlights for you?
There have been so many. It's been like a crazy trip, like a roller coaster. Like I've been through everything. Like I have experienced so much that I actually can't quite, even realize it yet. But a lot of good photo shoots and burlesque gigs and new friends and, new connections. 2
moments that you can say that stood out to you.
Well, actually, there were 2 photo shoots that I was really looking forward to. The first one was with Richard Martz, and the second one was with Asai Mays. And those were like amazing, like kind of like dream come true for me.
The Mays shoot, he's worked with Pamela Anderson and Elle Magazine.
Yeah, and Playboy and stuff like that. So that was like awesome, that he wanted to shoot with me. He was like, I really want to shoot with you. Why? Couldn't understand it, but yeah, I did it, and it was amazing.
And you seem to have like a different look, a different personality. There's a lot more going on. What do you think it is?
Well, I don't quite know what it is, because I'm just doing what I do. I'm being me all the time, but I've heard a lot of that during my trip here. Like, you just kind of like stand out of the crowd. So, I don't know. Perhaps it's because I do also rockabilly, and because I started as a singer. So I've been like an entertainer like my whole life. And burlesque I started to do like in 2012. So my background is a bit different than compared to the other girls, I guess. Of course there are singers, but like my roots are in the rockabilly and rock and roll. And I started in a hard rock band when I was 19.
What kind of songs did you do?
I sang in a band called 515, in a Finnish band. And we toured with, for example, Ken Hensley from Uriah Heep and Brian Robertson from Thin Lizzy. And we actually toured with Uriah Heep also. So it's kind of like it was rock and roll live.
That's cool. Ken Hensley or Brian Robertson, did they ever come up and say compliment you?
Well, I haven't seen them in years. But actually, I'm planning to go to Stockholm because Brian lives there. So I would love to meet him after all these years. But he was an awesome guy. So, and it was wild. I was 19. I was the only girl there, touring with these guys who were like 10 or 15 years older than I was. And they taught me how to drink whiskey and stuff,
Did they respect you?
They did, because I was a young girl, I just finished high school, and straight after high school I went to a hard rock band. Hard rock band, yeah.
What was your youth like growing up in Finland?
I'm originally from a really small town called Hyvinkää, which is like 50 kilometers north from Helsinki. I was always the odd bird, in that town, I didn't quite fit in because I have always had this thing in me that I really want to do my own thing, no matter what anyone says. I'm just being me. I wear what I want, I do what I want, and it's always been like that. And being like that in a really small town isn't the easiest.
So how was the family life? Was it a good family life or was it disruptive?
It was a good family life. My parents have been always really supportive. So that has never been a problem. But the town was, I didn't like my hometown. It was a bit rough for me. So I moved to Helsinki when I went to high school.
What do you mean by rough?
Well, they didn't quite get me there, I think.
So did they persecute you?
No, nothing like that. It was just like I didn't feel that I fit in, It was like small town. You shouldn't like pop out there, You should just like blend in. Yeah.
What do you think has been the biggest adversity you've had to overcome to get where you are today?
The biggest one is learning to love myself, I think. That's kind of like the biggest thing.
Why do you think you didn't love yourself?
Even though I didn't show it outside, but I was very insecure inside growing up, And I didn't... like the way I look. Like a lot of women feel that way, and kind of like there's something wrong in me, or. So that was like a lesson I had to learn, and I'm still, doing the learning stuff about it. Still having hard times sometimes, seeing myself and accepting who I am. But I think that's the biggest.
Don't you think that the media has brainwashed the youth to perceive themselves through what they see on TV and on the cover of magazines, and that's a complete lie, and that is why you dealt with those emotions, because you grew up seeing what was considered perfection presented before you, which is not perfection. Perfection comes from a different place, and nobody's perfect.
No, nobody's perfect. But I totally agree with that. It's a lot of doing with media, and these days there's social media. When I was growing up, there wasn't any social media, so it's like the good old days. We only had the TV and radio. But I totally agree with that. Social media, it can be good, it can be bad, but I think the good thing is that these days you can see a lot of like curvy women online, a lot of beautiful women, a lot of beautiful different type of body types and stuff like that. So it's kind of like not just one kind of beauty image over there. So, but it has its size.
It's what's in your heart.
Yeah.
That's what makes beauty.
Yeah.
And I worked for Rockabilly magazine for about 5 years. A lot of the people that I encountered had their conscience seared with a hot iron. There was no soul left. It was just all about making it. And they were beautiful on the outside, but they were empty shells.
Yeah. There's a lot of that going on, I think.
I hate that.
I hate that too, yeah. These days, it's kind of like I feel honored and kind of like privileged that I received a lot of messages around the world from women asking, can you help me how to be more confident, how to accept myself, how can I love my body and who I am, can you tell me any tips? Happy to help, because I know what I'm talking about. I've been through that path.
Number one advice.
Do something good for yourself every day, even a small thing.
Tell me about the highlights of singing with your 13-member soul big band at 23 years old.
Oh, highlights of that band. Well, actually, there's this big jazz festival in Finland called Pori Jazz. Mm-hmm. It's a very big event, very big festival. Like last summer, we had Imelda May and Brian Setzer and Brian Setzer Orchestra has been there. So we performed there. So I think that was the biggest gig live.
Have you gotten feedback from any people that you look up to, like a Brian Setzer or an Imelda May or anything like that?
No. I don't think they know. They know me. If you do, please give me feedback.
Okay.
That'd be great.
So what is the Helsinki music scene like? Is there one?
There is, yeah. Helsinki music scene, there's a lot of different kind of music going on. A lot of good musicians over there. But I'd like there to be more gigs, because during the weekdays, there's not that much going on. It's just basically on weekends, because our weather and stuff like that, people don't want to go out on weekdays. But it's still kind of like male dominated, I think. But I think it's that way like all over the world in the music scene. It's kind of like male dominated.
If you have a dream, just go and make that dream happen. There's nobody holding you back. People have cognitive distortions that there are people holding them back, when really you're only holding yourself back.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
That's
you
totally
have 2 legs,
true.
2 arms, and a brain, and you're healthy. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
So no limits. What inspired you to perform the Christian hymn Jesus Loves Me and then carry out a full burlesque striptease? And do you consider it blasphemous?
Oh, you mean my lover act? I don't. Actually, I don't remember. I'm not quite sure how I came up with that whole idea. I thought that I want to sing something, but I want to have like a bit of contrast to the costume that I'm wearing. And then I came up with like, I could sing about Jesus, perhaps, and lick the Holy Bible. Like, I don't know. It was just a crazy idea. And I remember when I went to Charlotte, North Carolina, and they wanted me to perform that number. I was like, okay, we'll see how that kind of, I don't know, because I heard that Charlotte is kind of like religious town. So, but it went well. But it was kind of like I wanted to, you know, these totally two different sizes, like the religious one and then the totally like out there, super sexual, erotic, you know, person to come out. So just like the contrast.
What kind of significance does the Holy Bible hold for you as a person?
I'm not a religious person. Like, you know, for me, it's a book. It's not, you know, it's nothing special. It doesn't have like special meaning to me in my life.
Were you raised in a Christian family?
Yeah, we are Christians, but, you know, we're not, you know, we didn't go to church or anything like that. It's a bit different in Finland. We're not like, even though we are Christian and we belong to the church, we don't go there. It's like minority of Finnish people who goes to church like every Sunday or something like that. Mostly you go to church if someone is getting married or there's a funeral or something like that, or Christmas church, but otherwise you can't like see God or Jesus in our like everyday life. Like I noticed here, you can see the word Jesus almost everywhere if you go out, like on the buildings and stuff like that. But we don't have that kind of thing in Finland.
Who do you say Jesus Christ is?
Well, I believe in something bigger, and I believe that there is something that, you know, I believe in something that I don't know who he is, or she, or is he Jesus, or, you know, that I kind of believe that he was real, but he doesn't, you know, I don't turn for him.
What does that mean, you don't turn for him?
Yeah, if I'm, well, I'm not praying actually, ever, I think. But, you know, if I'm thinking about that higher power that I believe in, because I believe there are, you know, energies and stuff like that among us, but if I'm thinking about that power, I'm not thinking about Jesus. So that's what I mean, that I'm not turning, you know, to Jesus when I'm thinking that higher power.
So do you believe that there's good and evil in the world?
Yeah, I do believe that.
What do you think the source of the good and the evil are?
I think we all have those two sizes, so it's kind of like human heart and mind. And it depends on your choices. I also believe in good energy and positive energy and bad and negative energy. So I rather talk about like energies than, you know, powers.
So do you believe there's a heaven and a hell?
No, because I believe like, I don't know, I believe reborn, you know, that we get second chances and we come back here. Because I think you can tell from some people that you can tell who's here for the first time, and you can tell who has been here like a lot of times. So I believe in that.
The Bible, it says it is appointed once for a man to die and then the judgment. How did your debut album, Summer Bride, on El Toro Records come together?
It was a long process. It didn't happen like in a year, because I had that big band first. And we kind of ended up our thing in 2009, 2010, because I was already writing some of those songs that ended up being in Summer Bride. So I was kind of going to that rockabilly, country, rhythm and blues direction, and the band was more like soul band. But my first love in music has always been rockabilly, and so I was kind of like wanted to go back where I started. So then I had to find me a new band, and actually I was trying to write songs, and there was this one producer in Finland who wanted to work with me, and then he just kind of like told me that no, you can't do anything, you suck, and you can't even sing, and that kind of like, made me feel so bad, so that I actually stopped writing songs and I stopped singing for a couple of years. And it was like 2012 when I started to like putting a new band together. The band that I recorded the Summer Pride with. Well, actually, a couple of the musicians changed on the way. When I finally found the right guys, that was like 2013, then it all just kind of started to come together, and I was feeling the positive, good energy again, and I was writing new songs. When we finally had enough songs that we could do an album, then I started to send in emails around the world that if some record company would like to publish our album. So El Toro was interested, then it just started going forward from that point, and we recorded the album in Finland autumn 2015, and it came out last year. I also wrote songs to my big band, but those songs were wrote together with some of the other guys. So Summer Pride is a special album for me because it's like my own songs, and I've written every single one of them. So it's kind of like feels good that it's out.
Blaring out you.